it's not like a Joanna Gaines kind of staging. It's more along the lines of a curated life staging. So we make it brighter, cleaner, fresher, and appealing to younger buyers, people who are coming in, and we want them to fall in love with it.
This is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, and you have found us again. This is the Serving Senior Podcast, and this is the podcast where we highlight those professionals that are helping seniors not just get by or not just survive, but thrive in their retirement. And this one is no exception. We have another great, we actually have two guests. We have a combo here. We're in for a real treat. We actually have a husband and wife team, and what they do is they help seniors transition in the real estate world. We know that it's not easy if you're a senior to move. So we have some experts here that help seniors transition, help them move, and try to make that process as easy as possible. So we have the McClures here. Hey guys, say hello. Well, thank you guys for being here. Wanted to see if we could share with the audience maybe the name of your business, what you do, how you work, and probably the coolest thing to share is I think Mark said you've got a good story here, maybe how you even got to Tennessee and how this business came together.
Sure. That's a mouthful, man. Well, we'll try to break it down, eat the elephant one bite at a time.
Let's do it.
Answer some questions and kind of give you a perspective of who we are and how we got here.
Sure.
So we own a franchise, a local franchise of Caring Transitions. And our company is called Caring Transitions of Greater Nashville. We've been in business since 2011. So we're just finishing our 12th year in business. We're really excited about that. There are over 300 Caring Transitions franchises across the United States.
Nice.
And they specialize in the needs of seniors making later in life domicile-related transitions. What we do is bring to the table three things, and I'll talk about that a little more in detail. We'll talk about that a little more in detail later, but we combine real estate sales, personal property liquidations, and relocation services. That could be local, national, or international. So that's kind of what we do. And we are Franklin, Tennessee residents. We've been here since 1996, and we moved here from San Diego, California.
Oh, nice.
We were serving a church in Cardiff by the Sea, which is a northern suburb of San Diego, right on the coast. We lived literally a mile from the Pacific Ocean. It was lovely.
Surfer town.
Oh, that's awesome.
Encinitas and Cardiff by the Sea, surfing USA, lovely. Lucadia, that area. So San Diego County on the coast. And prior to that, we lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we also served a large national ministry, television ministry, and music ministry, where I was on staff. So we moved here in 96, where I was in the music industry and also serving a church. And the music industry is famous for its shelf life. If you are over 40 years old in the music business, you're old. You're long in the tooth, man. You need to go retire someplace. So we, the music business in the early aughts was kind of sliding down the tubes. You might remember, some of our your listeners might remember Napster and downloads. And at the time, there were no iPods, there was no streaming. The music business was trying to figure out what to do with this technology that was costing it money. And there were layoffs and so on. So I exited the music business in 2010, and we were casting about looking for something that would leverage Mary's years in real estate. She's been a realtor since 2002. And my music ministry and project management experience in the music industry. So we looked for something that would leverage that, combine our age and wisdom, and found Caring Transitions. We both went through the loss of one of our parents. Mary, do you want to talk a little bit about that aspect, how Caring Transitions got on our radar and what led us to really get involved in a business that was 180 degrees from what we used to do.
Wow.
So my parents were experiencing a great retirement and doing all the traveling and enjoying life until my parents kind of crashed in 2010. And my dad was diagnosed with cancer and had a bunch of illnesses. And we discovered at that time that my mom had dementia.
They were in their 80s.
So
80, okay.
they were, as is common, sort of helping each other to survive. But once one got down, the other one went down quickly. So they went from being very active traveling seniors to in really tough shape really quickly. So my dad died, and then my mom had to go to a senior community for a memory care community for her dementia. So we were all of a sudden faced with downsizing their home, selling their personal property, and taking care of a mom who was very different than we knew. So we learned at that time that there's not a lot of roadmaps of how to solve that problem. We were fortunately in the position that we could come up and down. They lived in Indianapolis and we live in Nashville. And so we were able to go up and down the 65 many times, but that's not always the case. A lot of times the kids live far away or are not in good communication with their parents and are too busy. But we went up weekend after weekend and cleaned out their house and donated and divvied up the items in the house that the family wanted and so forth. But that was a lot of weekends. And a lot of time and a lot of travel, and we were able to do it, but we knew that a lot of people are not in that position. So kind of put in our mind that this is a big problem for people. So, we've often lived with the adage, find a problem and solve it. And that's sort of a part of the reason why we started this business. We realized that this was a big problem for people, and we wanted to help be part of the solution. So. And then we also had a similar experience with Mark's family. So we got hit on every side with our family.
In 2005, my mom passed away on the operating table during open heart surgery.
Oh.
Dad lived in a 4,000 square foot house in Pennsylvania, about a 14-hour drive from where we live now in Franklin. And he puttered along the best he could for a couple of years in the house, but wasn't really up to the task of keeping it clean, mowing the grass. He was in his, at that time, his mid 70s, getting on to his late 70s. And so he finally decided to downsize to a 55 and up condo about 10 miles from where he lived. So he put his house up for sale and said that he told us all, no, don't worry. Well, I'll handle all the packing. You guys, don't worry. Well, his house sold way before we thought it would. And it ended up that my sister, her friend, and I had to literally parachute in on a Thursday to get him packed and moved and out of there before the closing on a following Monday. It was epic. But again, here, my sister living in south of Atlanta, I'm living in Tennessee. We both had to, get on a plane, go up there and basically bail my dad out. Again, no roadmap. We had to figure out, what do we do with the junk in the basement? What do we do with the things that he wants to bring with him? We got to find a moving company. We got to pack some stuff. We got to handle donations. What are we going to do? And we had a long weekend to figure a lot of that out. That was crazy stressful. And we certainly don't want to see other people go through that. We kind of felt their pain and kind of get that. So that's what kind of led us toward a company like this that would help people not have to reinvent the wheel every time.
Wow, that's a great story. And it's pretty exciting to see how you guys were able to take your situations and find a problem and know other people probably have that same problem and be able to be a solution to solve it. So that's awesome. Thanks. When did the business, when did you guys start in the business?
We started in late 2011. So okay. We're just finishing our 12th year in business, and very much have enjoyed the last 12 years and seen a lot of changes in the business in that regard in terms of demand.
Sure.
As you know, and you've heard the statistic bandied about before, that the baby boomer generation is downsizing and retiring, and 10,000 baby boomers a day have been retiring because there are so many of them. And compound that with their parents are also downsizing now and maybe moving to a senior community or assisted living or what have you. So we have really seen that growth and that trend just continue to swell over the last decade plus.
Yeah, that's awesome. I can tell that you guys complement each other and work really well together. Maybe you guys could share some of your superpowers or some of your traits that really help you guys serve these seniors at such a high level.
Sure, absolutely. Go for it.
Oh, okay. I'll start.
She's got more superpowers than I do.
Oh, that's fine.
Gotcha. That's what I thought too, but I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, that's obvious.
So my part of the business that I work in is as Mark mentioned, I've been a realtor since 2002. So when we first started working, we knew that we wanted to combine the sale of personal property with the real estate sale because it's just a really great synergy between the two. So we've done a lot of different things, tried to solve that problem in a lot of different ways, and we've come upon what I think is our sweet spot with selling. So what we do is, and my team, my part of the equation is that we go in to a senior citizen's home. They've often already moved to a 55 and over community, or they have gone to a senior community of some sort, or have passed away, honestly. We go in, they're usually pretty dark, pretty cluttered, and just kind of in disarray. So step one is that we go in and declutter and get the trash out of the house, and sort and order things in the house. The next thing that we do is we take the items that we can use that are in the house and stage the property. We also have an inventory of things that are belong to the company that we can bring in some fresh accessories and different things to stage. It's not like a Joanna Gaines kind of staging. It's more along the lines of a curated life staging. So we make it brighter, cleaner, fresher, and appealing to younger buyers, people who are coming in, and we want them to fall in love with the house. Typically how we do that is we create a story with the house. The last house that we did, the folks were world travelers, and so we kind of did an international flavor in the house to make it look better. I say that because many of the companies that you work with, the estate sale companies that sell the personal property, will just strip the house bare, and then it's just sad. You know, we make the houses fresh and bright looking so that they sell well. As an example, the house that I mentioned with the international flair went under contract in this soft market in one day. So with a lot of excitement and a lot of interest. So we can do that for clients. And so what I would say is my superpower, and I have to say the superpower of my team, which is amazing, is that that we make houses sell faster. Senior citizens' houses sell faster and for more money, which is really important. So that is our gift to our clients, is that we make their houses sell for more money. And so that's our passion. We love doing it. It brings us great joy.
That's awesome. I bet you make people feel comfortable too. I can tell.
Oh,
the way you come across.
Yeah.
Mary's the kinder, gentler realtor. 3/4 of realtors, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but you want to just jump in a bush when you see them coming because they want to sell you something and they're high pressure. Mary is really person focused and not necessarily process focused, if that makes sense. In other words, she's not out to twist their arm. Literally, we're working for them at their pace, and it's about them and their story. And it's with seniors, a lot of times it's a big deal. You're letting go of memories and making a big transition. So that requires a different heart and a different mindset than high-powered going in and taking no prisoners and let's high-power negotiation kind of thing. That's not how we roll. And Mary's really great at combining negotiating skills, but a heart for people and a lot of aesthetics, just really great with that.
That's so cool. That is so cool. How about you, Mark? What are your superpowers?
Superpower is complements Mary. Mine would be logistics.
Oh,
and
nice. Okay.
organization, because my responsibilities tend to be on the move side. So we're helping clients, and I'm helping clients figure out. They usually figure out where to move, but I'm actually helping them move. So that combines the logistics of getting stuff in from one place to another, making sure it fits and looks good at the new place. Often we've helped clients move out of state. And so there are logistics concerns about, well, how are we going to get the items from Franklin to Pennsylvania? We're working on a client right now who's moving from Brentwood to Libertyville, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago. So we're working with her family who live in Libertyville. And
I feel bad for her, but keep going.
yeah. She's moving back to be closer to family, but boy, is it going to be cold. So you know that. Anyway, that's the thing, family long distance. So we're going to actually use a shipping container called Reload Cube to actually load and ship her items up. But our crew will pack her things up, and then her brother-in-law is going to drive her up to Libertyville. We've already arranged for a mover to unload at the senior community that she's going to be moving to, and her son will be there on the other end to help.
Wow, that's awesome.
So,
that is so
we
cool.
try to make that smooth and stress-free as possible, because moving isn't fun, but we try to make it as fun as stress-free as possible.
Sure. Well, you guys make a great team. That's awesome. Those are some good tie-ins and good connections there. Was that the way the dating worked when you guys met? It was just like peanut butter and jelly? Let's get personal here. How'd that happen?
Yeah, great question. We met in college. We both went to IU Bloomington.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Back in the day, we'll just say it was the early 80s and leave it go at that.
There you go. That's great.
I was actually like the director or head of our college Sunday school program.
Okay.
And, Mary was a visitor, and she was dating somebody else, and we figured this out not too long ago, believe it or not. We actually met on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
He was dating somebody else, and in church. So
that's awesome. That's so cool.
It wasn't butter and jelly, but it took us a little while to figure that out.
Yeah, it took a minute, but that being said, it was definitely an immediate attraction there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then there work together. Cool. You said this before, working together as a husband and wife, because I worked in an office, Mary did real estate sales on her own. Working together takes another layer of peanut butter and jelly, man. You got to go kind of reinvent yourselves, because things that are attractive, the differences can, when you work together, not necessarily be attractive. So you figure out ways to go, oh, this is really an asset. Maybe this person doesn't do it the way I would do it, but that's good because they're looking at it from a different perspective. So we've had to learn to work together. As well, which has been a good thing for us long term, but it took a little getting used to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, after 12 years, I couldn't imagine living the life of going separate directions every day. So
yeah, that's pretty well. My guess would be the positive would be, you don't have one person. So, well, why do you work all the time, or what are you doing all day? If you got two people going separate directions, at least you guys, whether you have a hobby or not, work could be some of the time you spend together. I know at least one of you, your love language is probably quality time. Well, at least when you're working, there is a little bit of that. So I'm sure that's a positive, but the negative would be you may be working all the time. So there's pros and cons.
Escape. Can't go your own way,
Right.
Yeah. So, but I think we make it work, and we figured it out over the 12 years, and we have a system now, I think, and a comfort level with everything now. Like I said, you have to figure that out.
Yeah, learn on the fly. That's awesome.
Strong mutual respect after working together. So, that's good.
Well, maybe you guys could highlight and share some ways to kind of take it from the conceptualized to like down to the concrete. Maybe share some examples of specific people you've helped, stories, just so people can start to formulate what an ideal client, maybe a good referral would be for you guys, as well as some ways that you guys work and help in the community would be good to hear as well.
You want to start, or you want me to?
I guess I'll just mention a recent client that we had this summer that was actually a gentleman whose mother was in very ill and in senior care. And long story short, he lived in Singapore, and his mom was here, and she had a condo full of things that needed to be sold. So as always, the condo was in kind of a mess from the illness and so forth.
Okay.
And so he was in town, had us come over for a consultation, which is, by the way, a low-key kind of situation. We aren't pushy with that. But that being said, he came in, realized that we could solve the entire problem for him of the personal property. Hired us the next day, and then within a week was gone. So he gave us the key. We went in, decluttered, put the house on the market, or put her condo on the market. It was under contract again in this really soft market in a very short period of time. I think it was less than a week. Once it went under contract, then we did a quick online auction to sell the personal property within the condo. Got the house closed. He did a long distance close. He was able to close from out of state, or he was traveling in the United States at that point, and he was able to do a distance close, and we were able to solve all that problem, and he didn't have to come back into town once.
And that was a referral from the gentleman's estate attorney. He had an attorney, he was working with his mom on her will, and he was getting power of attorney and so on. So she actually recommended us to him, knowing that he was going to be in town for a little while to kind of settle up some business things and take care of some of the estate related things for his mom in advance. And so that was referral from the state attorney. We get many referrals from estate attorneys and people that really know that there are, especially when there are several moving parts in their clients' situations, that makes it a little more challenging. So that's where we come in.
And I can't emphasize enough how important the piece about decluttering and staging and not making the house completely empty is, because there was another condo in that same development priced exactly the same way, and honestly in better condition, some better upgrades than our condo was, that literally just sold. So it was on the market for months, and ours was on the market for a week. So I think that the aesthetics of coming in and it being warm and looking good makes a huge difference for how long it takes things to sell. So
that's great.
So
yeah, that is the best of both worlds. You have the experienced realtor, but you also have Mark's background, the logistics and planning, and because most normal real estate transactions, right, they just sell the house and the people figure out where you're going, moving from there, and you guys have a great system to be able to help them come up with a plan. I always say in our business, what we're really selling is peace of mind. And it sounds like you guys do a great job of making them feel comfort on the front end, but also they have peace of mind to know that they have a plan. Everyone has a lot more peace of mind when they have a plan. And it sounds like you guys do a great job of that.
That's true. Good word there. Yeah. And we find out, Matt, that a lot of people contact us either as referrals from the marketing or sales directors of senior communities, or a lot of people find us online. And of course, other previous clients of ours will also recommend us. But a lot of times people contact us because they have problems. They're thinking about their stuff in their house. That is the biggest problem a lot of times for people, or the psychological burden of what do I do with all these things in my 3,000 square foot house? I'm only moving to a 700-foot condo or apartment. What am I going to do with the rest of that? We get a lot of calls from people in that situation, and they're thinking more about their personal property, their personal possessions, than they are about their house or about the move even. So sometimes people will already have listed their house with someone, and then 2 weeks before the close, or 3 weeks, it will dawn on them, oh, we've got to do something with this stuff. And then we'll get calls from people like that, and we go, oh, wish we could help you, but there's not enough runway. So if you're able to rewind and talk to us before you've listed your house, and before it's 2 weeks before you close, then it's so much easier on you and your family. So that's an important consideration.
Okay. Yeah,
for us.
that's great. Maybe that brings up a good point. Maybe you could share, do people hire you for the whole process, which sounds like they can, the selling, the stuff, the move? Can people a la carte and have you guys do specific parts of it? Or how do you guys work? How do you prefer to work? And then what are the options?
That is a great question. And the answer is they can hire us a la carte for moves. So we'll move pretty much anybody, anytime, anywhere.
Okay.
However, back around COVID 2020, we and before that, our first 9-10 years in business, we did a lot of estate sales and did some listings for our clients. But remember I told you earlier in our interview that we've seen the growth in the market for personal property. People are downsizing in droves, and there's so much stuff, furniture and crystal and
China
and tools and you name it on the market. It's an oversupply and under demand really situation. But we have seen that, and we got to the point where we had to draw a line, or all we would do is estate sales, which are so labor intensive. And so there's just so little to be really made in that business if you run it like a business. Estate sales that's a whole different creature we'll talk about in a little bit maybe. But anyway, what we've done is draw a line and say, if you are our listing client, then we will be glad to hands-on absolutely conduct an online auction through our website, ctbids.com,
Okay.
and liquidate, sell your personal property, empty your house, get you all situated, no worries, no problem. But for those people that don't use us as a listing agent, we say no harm, no foul. We understand especially if you have a relationship with someone else already. We're not going to try to muscle in on you there, but we will point you in a different direction. And we often will recommend that people look to a website called estatesales.net. And that is a site that is frequented by estate sale companies, as well as people that go to estate sales, collectors and resellers, things like that. It's a good way for a person that needs to sell their things to find a estate sale company on that site for no cost, and that may be able to be a solution for them. So often we'll tell people, we wish we could help you, but we're just not set up. We're really a boutique company, a niche in a niche, and we're just not set up to do hundreds and hundreds of estate sales a year, nor do we really want to. We want to be able to be a little more holistic than that and do that. So the answer is yes, we can do some a la carte things, but with the real estate and the personal property, that sort of needs to go hand in hand.
Got it.
And it's to their benefit because of the ability to sell their house well that way.
Most realtors don't have a clue when it comes to the sale of personal property. They're in the leads, and they've got to figure it out. We've got that plan and that machine figured out, and that's something that we can really bring to bear.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned about the getting the items out of the home, and I just had a guest. She goes by JV the coach. I don't know if you've met her yet. You met Jennifer?
I'm not.
Well, she's a mindset coach, and she specialized in seniors and specialized in hoarders.
Oh,
so
yeah.
she's went through the whole process of you really can't get rid of the stuff without getting rid of the reason why they started to gather the stuff. So she has a whole process that she takes people through. And you mentioned about the people more worried about their items. She has to sit down and have a series of meetings with them to even get them to consider getting rid of their items. That's really what caused them to keep those items. So I'm sure it's a whole big process that you have to go through.
Yeah, we have worked with folks before, and it can be a sad situation with hoarders and needing to move and not being willing to move. So that's a good service that she provides.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, that all makes sense. Maybe could you guys share with the listeners maybe some resources that you recommend? Maybe you meet someone, they're thinking about doing this in the future, they're just not there yet, right? They're not ready. So what's some tools that you maybe send their way to educate them?
Mark had mentioned the estatesales.net site. which is really a good way to contact estate sale companies if that's what they're
Okay.
looking for.
Okay.
And definitely want to reiterate, do not put your house on the market, get it under contract, and then think about what you're going to do with your stuff. If I had any warning to people, any piece of advice, that if I could get people in advance and say, please think about the personal property first. So there's
Okay.
that. And Mark, I think you've got some other resources.
There are a couple that I would recommend to people, just kind of globally or holistically. Often our clients need a bigger picture than we can provide. In other words, we help with the domicile part, with their residence and with their move of things from one residence to another residence. But sometimes they need a game plan with regard to their estate or their financial situation, perhaps even their medical, physical condition. You know, they might need a power of attorney signed. They may need a will. They may need a plan that legally goes beyond the scope of services that we can provide our clients. And so there are a couple of resources we found that are really go-to resources for folks in that situation. One is called AROSA Care, AROSA Care. It's two different words, and their website is arosacare.com. We do a lot of referrals to Erin because she can come up with a game plan as a care provider and make sure that their physical and financial needs are being handled during the process of the move. So that's a wonderful thing. She's a care manager, basically.
Okay.
Make sure that people are physically able to go, and she knows nurses and doctors and just really can provide that kind of piece that we're not equipped to provide. Another one is the law firm of Timothy Takis and McGinnis. They're up they moved up to Hendersonville recently, but they are pioneers in what's called elder care law. And that again provides a stable of resources that's above and beyond what we can do. They will call us sometimes for the move or the real estate sale part, but they can provide legal, financial resources and a plan for folks that we couldn't begin to do as in our wheelhouse. So those are two resources, and I think we can go back and put those URLs online at some point, Matt, but or show them up now. But those are two that we'd really recommend. And then if you ever wanted to check out online auctions and see what that's about, go to ctbids.com. That's CT, like carrying transitions, bids, BIDS.com. And you'll see the network of our franchise actually selling people's personal property all over the United States. Kind of get an idea what the online auction process is about, because that can be a little intimidating to people. People think an auction, does that mean it's a sheriff's auction and neighbors think I've been foreclosed on? No, it's just a way that you don't have hundreds of people go through your home, and it's a very efficient and very competitive way to sell your personal property online and to people locally as well as people nationally. So ctbids.com is a great way to do that, and to, peruse the site and get a sense of what kind of things are being sold and what kind of prices they get. So it's a really great resource for people.
Okay, that's great. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, any more you have, Mary?
Again, just wanting to reach out and try to spread the word a little bit. We don't go to a party, to a church service, to any kind of event that we don't talk to somebody who says, yeah, I've been through that, or my parents are downsizing, or my aunt did, or whatever, and we didn't know what to do. So just want to tell people that there's a process, that it can be not so painful, and that there's help, because it's a common problem. And so we just want to reach and touch as many people as we can, solving that problem for people.
Sure, that's great. Well, maybe could you guys share in Middle Tennessee what markets you serve, and then how people would get in touch with you, contact information, and also good referral sources if someone's listening to this, the type of people they should share this with. could be good as well.
Great question. Thanks. We serve greater Nashville metropolitan area. We're based in Franklin, but we cover generally Williamson County, Davidson County, and some other outlying counties. Occasionally we'll go do projects in Murfreesboro, Lewisburg, even Columbia, of course, Green Hills, Brentwood, Franklin, that area. But Williamson and Davidson County are primarily where we operate. Recommend in terms of referrals and so on. If you're an estate attorney, you work with seniors in terms of home health care or home care. If you're a sales manager or marketing manager at a senior home, you're going to know, or senior community, you're going to eventually come across, and you often will, people that have a problem. They don't just need to move, but they need to figure out what to do with their stuff and sell their home. We're your resource that can help you be a hero to your client or your future resident. So those are the kinds of referral sources. A lot of them come online, but also we do work and kind of network with senior professionals, people that care for or work with seniors. So that's
makes sense. That's great. And then how would they get in touch with you if they or someone they know could use your services?
Yes, they could get a hold of us at call either of our cell phones. 615-335-6936 is mine. Mary's is 615-582-4757. Or go onto our website at it's ctnashville.com.
We don't obviously check our own website that
right.
much.
We've got caringtransitions.com and type in the zip code that you live in, and you'll have a find an office, and then you can locate us that way and send an online request or inquiry that way. So
that's so cool.
ctnashville.com or caringtransitions.com, either way.
And just want to let people know that if you just have questions, we talk to people every single day, and we're happy to share resources and give advice. I talked to somebody on the phone yesterday who had some framed art that she needed to sell. And I just said, if you need permission to just donate that, here's your permission. So sometimes we just kind of counsel people on the phone. So don't hesitate to call. We're happy to chat with folks.
Yeah, we're not high pressure salespeople. We're really more interested in the people and how we can solve problems, but we're not going to give them a sales pitch and twist their arms.
That's awesome. That is so cool. Well, thank you guys for sharing it. I'm so glad that you guys are on today, because I believe there's some great synergies in what both of us do. We just had a situation where we had a client, they lived in the Nolensville area, but their kids were 50, they were 70, right? Their kids lived in the Smyrna area, and the kids were driving back and forth, which doesn't sound very far, but if you're familiar with the back roads, it's 10 or 15 minutes, but they were doing it multiple times to check on them. So the kids, they'd really been focused on finding the parents a home close to them, and a home that had already had, transitioned with railings and a walkway, that they'd already had someone in a wheelchair living there. So there was a perfect home for them. So the kids were able to kind of organize and at least get mom and dad interested. The challenge was that mom and dad had experienced quite a bit of appreciation in Nolensville, but once they sold the home and paid off the mortgage that they had, they were only going to net about $350. And if you guys have looked at homes in Smyrna lately, they're not homes for $350 anymore in Smyrna, Tennessee. Even the home was around $550 or so. So they were about $200,000 short, and based on what they made versus what they had going out, they went to a credit union to chat with them about a loan. They didn't really qualify for a traditional loan, and once they even found out what the payments would be, they didn't want to make those payments at 70 years old on a fixed income with the rates where they are. So we were able to put in place, that's a federally insured senior lending program called a HECM, which is the FHA's consumer protected version of the new and improved reverse mortgage. So we were able to use that as it's called a HECM purchase. So they were able to take their $350, put it down on the home that fit their needs better, the $550 house, but not have to pay all of it in cash. So they put the $350 down, they borrowed the $200. They just have a lien on the property, just like any other lien they've had their entire life, right? They still own their house. they still experience and gain all the appreciation. If they ever pass, their kids can inherit the home, inherit the equity. The big thing is though, they're not obligated to make a monthly payment. So they get to take the home, own the home. It's their house. They can make payments. They just don't have to. So instead of $2,000 a month going to the bank, they can use that for in-home care and the services they need, etc.
That's cool.
So it works out well. The only downside is if you don't make a payment, it is a loan, so the balance increases. But we ran the numbers, in 10 years, they're still going to have over $200,000 in equity, but they didn't have to make $200,000 or $300,000 worth of mortgage payments over the same time period. So it's a cash flow ID. Yeah. So that's the way we work with seniors. They just have to be over 62 and have a good chunk of equity. So we're always here to help, and it's always nice to meet other people that serve seniors at a high level. So thank you guys for being on here today.
That's an honor. We appreciate you asking us, and we look forward to continuing to talk with you and work with you and bless people that come across your path or ours.
Yes, thank you. Well, thank you guys again. And thank you for listening. This was the Serving Senior podcast. And as you can see, we have those amazing professionals that serve seniors at a high level to help them not just survive, but thrive in retirement. So thanks again. Have a great, great day. Hey, this is Matt Helton with OneTrust Home Loans, home of retirement mortgage solutions. And we really do appreciate you checking out the Serving Seniors podcast today. Now, please go to the description down in the body of the podcast where you can subscribe to get future shows. Please click that notification button so you get notified when other shows drop. And also, if you can go to servingseniourspodcast.com, and we'd love to hear a comment about our show. We have a heart to serve seniors, and we have a heart to make sure seniors don't just survive retirement, don't just get by in retirement. We want to show seniors how to thrive in retirement. So if you know of anyone that's 55 and older that could use some extra cash flow, maybe the retirement's not going the way that they like, our retirement mortgage solutions are designed for folks, and depending on the state, they're either 55 or 62 and older, to make sure that they have that kind of retirement that they want. As long as they own a home and they're in a good equity position, there could be some solutions that they may not have thought about, or maybe they've thought of and they just didn't know how they work. That's what we do. So anyone in that age group that could use some mortgage advice, my team and I would love to be able to help them. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you on the next show. Have a great day.